Yes guys, I'm back with another one. And today I'm going to be doing a video of, I'm going to look at BTC while we're at it, but I did look at it last time and I did tell you where it was going to go. That was my short trade. That was the risk to reward. You know, I took a lot of the position off down here. And you know, look at that risk to reward. They're still going at the minute, and you're still a 1 to 5. So anyways, what I'm going to be looking at is I'm going to show you how I'm marking out levels on the daily and the weekly, so we can have higher confluence trades. So yeah, let's get straight into it anyways, guys. So BTC, like I was saying, previous weeks value area low, previous weeks value area high, previous week's point of control. I took that trade at previous week's point of control, where I could see that we're having a lot of choppy price action. We got rejected and away it went. You know, like I say, when we got to the actual value area high of this week, which was here, I took most of the trade off. So that were a 1 to 3. I let a lot of it run. Some of it is still running. My stop now is here. So my stop is at my original TP. And that's how you can build a great trade. So I took, I think it was like 50, 75%, something like that off here. I've let the rest run. I took another 25 here, and it's still running. You know, you have a little look at that. The entry were there. That was Thursday at 12 o'clock. We're now on Saturday. So I've let that run for 2 days and I've made a decent amount of profit. Whereas it absolutely made me laugh the other day. Well, I was watching a video on YouTube anyways, and I think BTC were around here, and they were talking about, oh, we're creating, I don't know what it was, a bullshit flag. Because I don't believe in them. I think it's a lot of crap. They said that this here, we're creating a bull flag. So that, supposedly, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. It could be like that. I ain't got a fucking clue. But I know that they're all full of crap. And they're probably longed it and ended up getting stopped out. Whereas I was shorting it and I've made money. Whereas James Wynn, we might as well throw his name out there, seeing as everybody knows him. We're longing it here like an absolute sausage. And look what happened to him. 100 million down. Oh well. Suppose shit happens, doesn't it? And when you're doing degen trading, a bit like Michael Saylor, who's got very, very lucky here, then yeah, you're going to end up getting wrecked at some point. So anyways, right, let's get down to the video and what I'm actually doing in the video. So people have requested and they want to see how I'm marking out levels and what I'll do and the way I'll mark out levels. So I'm doing an updated version of that and I'm going to show you what I do. So let's go to a blank chart. I think I've got all them marked out. XRP. See, I've got a lot of them marked out. Let me get let's do LPT. Right. LPT. So what I'll do is I'm going to have to take these lines off just for now. Just take these off just for now so we can start afresh. Right. So what I'm doing here is I've got this here, which is my volume profile. So I'll delete that and I'll put a new one in. I'll go to the weekly. I'll go to the high point of where LPT was. My phone ain't shutting up. So I've gone to the high point there and I've got my volume profile in. Okay. So that's my weekly volume profile. Even before I do that, I'd have a look at these certain levels where we are. So what we can clearly see here, this wick, I mark out the wicks, but you can mark out the bodies if you want to. Totally your choice. So I can see that wick there, where it's dropped, come back up, dropped in again, and then gone. So now I know if this comes back to here, there's potentially a lot of buyers there. And that's in June 23. There's potentially a lot of buyers right there. I can now look here and can see there's potentially a lot of sellers, support resistance, whatever you want to call it, here. Okay. So looking at that zone there, that's on my weekly. They're my levels on my weekly. And we've got another high level here, up at the top, around this zone here. Around here. We might have a better level there. Yeah, we do. That level there's another perfect level on the weekly. Having a little look. Coming across to here. There we go. Look at that. Another perfect level there on the weekly. Right there. So I've got my weekly levels marked out. What I'll do is I'll go here, click this box here. That'll be marked as weekly levels of interest. Put them in there. Drag them in. I've already got a setup for this. Got settings. Yep. Weekly, daily. Level. They're my levels. I don't need to touch that now. So what I'll do is I'll close that down a minute. So then what I'll do again is I'll have a little look around these zones and I'll mark out zones. So this here is a zone of interest to me on the weekly. I've also got down here. This down here is another zone of interest for me. It's not the biggest zone, but it's a zone of interest in that area. So I've got two zones of interest. In between there, I'm not right bothered. But what I'll do is I'll go into the daily and I'll refine these levels now. So what I'll do is weekly zone of interest. Let me just check, make sure I'm recording this. I am. So weekly zones of interest. Put that in there. Go into there. Settings, template, weekly. So I know now, if we go up into here, there's a potential for us to reject. We drop into here, there's a potential for us to push off. Okay? So what I can also do now is start to refine these levels. So this level here, up in here, was a rejection zone. So I will mark that out So what I'm doing is I'm marking it from that body of that candle to the wick. So I know now, if we come back into here, that could be a possible buy zone for me. I've also got another zone here from that body to the wick of another possible. Look how it's come back down into it. It went all the way up, but came all the way back down. For us to be bullish on that, what you want to see is, when I can get my trusty little tool out that I can't find. So we want to try and hold this zone. Excuse me. We want to try hold that zone. If not, and we start to reject, then we want to look at this zone on a hold. And you want to take some off here. Okay? That's what I'm looking at. That's how I will look at the chart. I'm not going to give everything away, but I'm going to give you a lot of what you could potentially be using to help you with your trading. So weekly. Oh, now I've put them in there. Anyways, I'll pull them out. I don't know where they've gone now. Close them off. Right, sorted. We've got that marked out. So all I'll do is I click my weekly zone on. There we go. I know these zones are very important to me. So now I've dropped it daily. And I'll have another little look at the daily. So let's have a little look at the daily. So the daily. This zone here at $9.785 is another important zone to me. Because it hit it, and bounced. Okay? When we see a candle like that, you know, it's an abnormal candle. Not really something that I want to trade. But, me just looking at this little area here, look at that. I found another zone from recent price action. Just by looking at that little level there. So, I've also got another zone there. Level, should I say. I've also got another level here now. And that's by just looking at these little candles here. Seeing how many times they're rejecting, how many times they're pushing off. So then I'll come down into here. And I've got another zone that I can see offhand straight away. And like I say, I'm using the wicks. I've got another level here. And you know what? It ain't going to work all the time. Because look, it came up into that zone and it looked like it was going to hold. It then rejected. I know a lot of players and a lot of people, when it's held up above there, their stop's going to be there. That's just where your stop will be. Because a lot of people will do it. Whereas I'll look at the whole zone and I'll think, right, where could they potentially want to go to take me out? This zone and this zone. So I really want to be below that strong bullish candle. And then all I'll do is I'll be targeting the next zone. I'll be taking some off here and I'll be taking some off here. And lo and behold, let me just get this properly across. Move that across. So your entry were there on that candle close. And we go up. 89% move. But you would have been stopped out Because I know a lot of people will put their stop there. I can guarantee it. And market makers will come into that zone and wipe you out. Just like here. Just like if you bought in there and you put your stop down here, they come and wipe you out again. That's why you want to look at the 3-bar pattern, whatever they call it. I don't really use stuff like that, but some people call that 3-bar pattern, and they're expecting it to continue up. Unfortunately, it never did, and they held it from the 11th to the 29th. Would you have been able to hold that for 2.5 weeks? That's what you've got to ask yourself. Can you hold that for 2.5 weeks? Right. So now, me looking here, I've got a few more zones. I've got a zone here where all these all these wicks are, just below. All them wicks. That is my zone of interest on the daily. Here. All these wicks. That is another zone of interest to me. So they're my zones of interest now. What I'm looking at, where it could potentially be going. Say we were in this sort of price action here. I would be looking at these candles here. Here. And I would mark out that zone. So now I can move that zone. And lo and behold, it fell below it on the daily, it did. But look how weak these candles were. Look how weak they were. You want to see candles like that. But looking at that compared to that, there's no weakness there. This is what you need to be looking out for. And I also use my volume profile. And I don't really want to give much away with that volume profile, because then it might not pan out the way I want it to pan out. And I'm not being a dick about it or all like that, but I don't really want to show people how I'm using the volume profile as well. I'm just going to show you how to use the levels. So I've now got my levels marked out. I will then come across to see, and I've already spotted some, these wicks here. All these wicks coming across into this zone here. I've now got another level of interest, where I'll either want to buy or sell. So then I can go further up. Not a lot there for me really, that I really want to be using. I won't mark out every single level on the chart. I'm looking at recent price action and what's going on here. That's my levels now. So then what I'll do is, I've got these levels, and they will be daily levels of interest. Put that into there, that into there, and that into there. Settings, template, daily. So now I've got these levels marked out, and I can look at these levels. So what I can then do is, because I've got these levels marked out like this, I can look at these certain wicks in these levels and mark it out as a level of interest, as a zone of interest. My apologies. So I'm going to be looking at that wick, these wicks up in here, and I'm going to mark from the body to the wick, and I'm going to go across with it. And now what I've got a level, I've got a zone. Can you see how I'm actually creating a plan with the way I'm going to trade? I'm not just going to be like, well, it hit that level, so I must short it. No, I'm creating a plan now. So if I come into this level here, this is why I said yesterday between 12 and 14, the levels I can see, between 12 and 14 is a possible shorting opportunity. I know I've not got a magic ball. I've just done this a long time and I know what I'm talking about. Have a look. Between 12 and 14, 13 and a half it went to, and took a 35% shit. That is not difficult. And then even to refine my entry, I can go down in the 4 hour. Look at how many chances you had here. This is just on the 4 hour. These are after I've marked out my levels, remember. This is the 4 hour. Look at these wicks. Rejection, 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 rejection. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities to short that coin on that candle close. And this would have been your short. On the close, stop up in there, target down in here. And it's not a good risk to reward, it isn't. But you know what it is? It's a safe trade. It's a 1 or 2 and it's easy money. And you could have even made it more safe by waiting for that candle to close. And we short here. We can now put our stop there at the top of that zone and target here. And now that's a better risk to reward. And it's only took how many hours? 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't really trade them, but some people might do. 5, 9, 1. 5. 12 hours. You've ended up with, a 1 to 2 risk to reward, which is a 26% drop. It's not hard. And obviously when it's moving down like that, say you took it at 5 o'clock, you went to sleep, you woke up at 1 o'clock, you're taking 75% off your trade there. And you're at stop loss in that break even. Or you can even go further and put your stop loss down into here. So you're guaranteed all that profit. See, and I don't mean it in a bad way when I say trading's not hard. What I mean is, you can make trading so much more easier without having 6 million indicators on your fucking chart. Because all that's doing is distracting you. Genuinely. That is all it's doing. It's just a distraction. Look at how simple my chart is. It's a couple of lines, a couple of zones, and that's it. I ain't got this. I've got a trend line there, and then I've got a trend line there, and then I've got a trend line there, and then I've got a trend line there, and there, and there, and there, and I've got a trend line there, and I've got an arrow there, and I've got an arrow there, and I've got a ball sack there. Why? What do you need that for? It's so simple. So simple. So that is how I will mark out my charts. And let me just look at my phone, because I don't know if anybody else wanted me to actually look at something while I'm here. So let me have a little look, and I might as well. Let me have a little look. Now, I think that's all I wanted me to look at to show you. And you know, if you really want to use an indicator, there's this indicator here, what James has got. It's Edge Wave. Absolute class indicator if you want to use that indicator. Have a little look at that. Or, if you want to make it more simple, something called the RSI. And everybody thinks, because it's up there, it's going to come down. That's not necessarily the case with the market, okay? But what you can see is when it's coming up like this and it hits that high, and then you get that next peak, is the RSI, and this is probably one of the most basic things that you can use. This RSI here, price is going higher, okay? RSI is going lower. So you've got the bearish diversion. Pretty simple, that, innit? So you don't need all this crap that you're putting on your charts. All you need is levels, zones of interest, and build a plan. Build a plan of where you think, right, I know a lot of people probably did want to short it here, but to me, I want to short it that. Because, did it come at that level? No. Did it close? Did it come into it and reject and close below that level? No. Is the RSI in an overbought territory? With crypto, no. Overbought to me in crypto is around about 95. Oversold is way below 15. Okay? And that's what you want to look at. It's pretty simple when you think about it. And if you don't know what this is, and you've probably never seen this, all that is, on your right hand side of your chart in trading view, 3 down, object tree and data window. And what you can do is, you can create groups of your drawings. So if you don't want them drawings on your chart now, that's all you've got to do. That's all you've got to do. That's all you got to do. It's so easy. So if you have a little look at my daily and my weekly, look how it aligns. And I can refine that in the daily to get these really good trades. So it's totally up to you. I'm not saying you have to use it like this, but what I am saying is make trading a little bit easier for yourself. Instead of thinking, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need the stochastic and I need the RSI and I need the flip-flop indicator and the drip-drop indicator and the chick-chack indicator and whatever else you want to put on there, you don't need it. You just need levels of interest and volume profile. I'm not really going to go into that much because that's my little thing that I like to use. So yeah, that's it from me. Don't forget all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want next. I'm getting out of here because I'm watching the Champions League and I'm having a little drink. And I will catch you in the next one, guys. Happy trading.